And so I just told my manager I didn't feel comfortable. So he told me to call police while he, I guess, stalled for
What
a
is
minute.
what is on the note, ma'am?
It just says I want to withdraw $12,000. Just be discreet.
Is this an actual customer, or are they trying to rob the bank?
They had a debit card and he inserted it. He gave me a California ID, but I was like, okay. I was like, how do you want the cash back? And he's like, just look at the note.
And he had no weapons, correct?
Not that I know of. He just has on black sunshades and a black hat.
Is he a black male, white male?
He's a black male. And every time I ask him like a question, he's like, look at the note.
So, okay.
But he inserted his debit card, and then I asked for his ID. He handed me his ID as a California ID. But I didn't look at his name because I'm just like so shook up. Like, I don't know what he's trying to do. So I just told him, give me one moment. You know, I have to get my manager.
Okay, so none of his information was even verified. Okay. He might just want to be discreet, but I have police around.
Yeah, I mean, he might. It just seems weird.
Hey, sir.
Hey, man.
Come here, sir, man. Whoa, what's going on, man?
Got it. You got any weapons with you?
No, sir.
Next thing I hear fucking Glocks. Yeah. I hear Glocks getting pulled out. That's what I hear.
You're a Glock.
I hear Glocks getting pulled out from unholstering. Mm-hmm. Hey, sir, can I talk to you for a minute? Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you see my perspective?
Yeah.
So I mean,
how many officers you got on this?
So here's the whole location, as you can see. Doing the 360 so you guys can just check it out. But this is the whole location right here. And this would be the bank location in which that girl that called the police on RYANCOOGLER works. Now for her, this is nice, right? This is nice. And I'm pretty sure that the police, they were probably about right here where that person is standing at, infiltrating RYANCOOGLER. We still ain't got her name, but I know the location she worked at. And it's West Pacers Ferry, 1280 West Pacers Ferry Road, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia. That would be Buckhead, North Buckhead to be exact. This center is temporarily closed. She done messed up the whole location. Now, I don't know, maybe just because of the weekend or something like that. But yeah, this is where she works. And if you guys want to get in touch with the bank manager and tell them your feelings, you can dial at 404-856-3986. Go ahead and give Marlon a call, or Marlon Somersault, and tell him how you feel about RYANCOOGLER being stopped at his bank. I thought I'd put that on out there for the people, for the culture. Now, this is a review of that same location, and what I found was they got a 2.0. Jesus Christ. Yes, this is the location in which the girl that called the police on RYANCOOGLER, this is where she works at. And it got a 2.0 out of 5 stars. And one thing that really chaptered in with me right here at Google Reviews is this right here. And this was written 4 years ago by Sean Brown, way before this RYANCOOGLER situation happened. I'm in here now. I've been standing in line for 15 minutes with 2 tellers during lunch hour, the busy hour. This brand should be shut down. The big nose lady, which I'm pretty sure he's referring to a black woman, the big nose lady in the office only spoke to white individuals in line, and I taped it as proof. I will never visit this BOA. I don't know what that's an acronym for. I will be contacting corporate. And I got 14 likes. 14 likes, and that was 4 years ago. This is a practice that most of those, I keep trying to tell y'all, a lot of these black Karens, this is what they practice right here. And here again is proof, and they're not listening to men when they tell them these men are being tapped out. She knew who Ryan Coogler was. Which brings me to this right here. She knew who Ryan Coogler was. And the reason I knew she knew who Ryan Coogler was, because it was one part of that, oh my God, annoying, this forced, contrived 911 call that she made, which was this. She said, oh, well, he handed me an ID, but I didn't look at the name. Yes, you did look at the name, and you knew who he was. That's why you did it. In fact, I'm even going to go as far as to say that woman's disgruntled, and I want to know, where's her baby's daddy? Does she actually live in that section of Atlanta, West Pecos? I believe that's the name of it, over in North Atlanta, because that's a very affluent area. And being the fact that most of those women don't make nothing but about 16 to 17 at tops, $23 an hour as a teller, has me believe that she cannot afford to live over there. So it's very well a factor in here that I gotta point out, and I'm gonna keep pointing out, that I think this woman was actually jealous of Ryan Coogler, which is even more dangerous. This woman not only put Ryan Coogler's life at risk, as you saw, as a man that were also black, came into the bank and they had the guns drawn all ready to go off. Not only was it that, but the black bank teller herself, which most of major media is hiding the fact that this woman was a black woman. She wasn't white, she wasn't anything else, she was a black woman. I say shame on this woman, and how come we're hiding her name? Somebody get me her name. Other than that, guys, I'll give you more up-to-dates as I find out more. Talk to you later. Almost one thing. Before I go, I want to bring this up about these phenomenon of black and Latin Karens all of a sudden that have popped up around the world. I want to send a special shout out to the Middle Eastern Karens that have popped up in California and Texas and a couple other locales throughout our beautiful country here. These women are bending themselves on recognition. This woman got a lot of recognition from this story. I think it was unwanted recognition, but the recognition that she at first aptly went after was, I believe, embarrassing this man. Not because he was just a black man, because he was a man in general. And I believe that it's important that the major media outlets start pointing out women, as they have been doing with an influx that are like this. This is not to contend, and on my page I take up for women so many times. My record in history shows it on this page. I don't need no arguments. But women like this in a fraction are dangerous. I want you to know the repercussions. Once again, I have to reiterate the repercussions that could have been a possibility had Ryan Coogler been caught off guard and caught off candor that day. And that's the dangerous part. We could have had one of the most famed directors ever from the Black Panther movie, a Disney movie, a Marvel movie, out of here because a woman was jealous of him. A woman felt content against men. A woman might have felt whatever. So when I talk about these toxic traits in this new wave of feminism, not the old feminism that actually stood for something. I'm not talking about the incarnation of Amelia Earhart and what they represented, and not to say that's all great either. There are a lot of racist templates in that. But what I'm saying is these women and their sought after ambition to assimilate are now throwing their own men under the bridge, whether it mean even taking your life out of consideration and putting you in harm's way. You know the setback. You've seen enough examples. You know what could possibly happen upon these men arriving. And to the 2 black officers that arrested them, I do believe you carried your job well, but you had your own preconceived notions when you got there too. You thought just for a hint of a moment you was going to get a bingo, which I can't give you a pass on either. So I say to the teller and to them, bothly, F+. If it was anything below that I could give you, I would give you even more. So Ryan Coogler, we're looking forward to Black Panther 2, and be on the lookout for women that are doing things like this all across the country. Wakanda forever.